Hey, what's up? It's time for another QA session with the Duke, and today's question is, how do I get a job in the United States? This is not legal advice. I am not an immigration attorney, and you shouldn't make any decisions based off of what I say. Okay, the first thing you have to understand is that this is a very politically charged question. I could get canceled from both sides of the political spectrum for even trying to answer it. Basically, everybody above 30 who works in IT has a memory of a time where dozens, maybe hundreds of their coworkers were put out of work, made redundant, if you will. And then the very next day, tons of visa-sponsored labor came in. It's a really hot topic in the US because on one side of the house, you have people whose friends and family members were burned by visa sponsorships. And on the other side of the political spectrum, you have people who think that the border should be open and it should just be, anybody can come in and do anything. This isn't a political conversation for me. I'm just trying to give you the truth with love. Be careful who you ask and how casually you ask about this question. For the most part, individuals on LinkedIn aren't going to be able to help you anyway. That said, there's basically only two types of visas you can get, an L1 and an H1B. The L1 is for big multinational corporations to move their staff from other countries to the US. And depending on the country that you're coming from, the duration of the L1 could be anywhere from 6 months to 5 years. The key is you can't get it on your own. You have to have your current employer, who has offices in wherever you are and the US, sponsor you for that. Now, a lot of employers will say, yes, of course, we'll sponsor you for an L1. But if you want to make sure, you got to get it in writing. Saying something and doing something are two completely different things. The other thing you should realize is that half the reason a lot of these companies offshore the resources that they become, it's a significant cost savings for them. So by moving from wherever you're at to the US, you may eliminate that cost saving. The other type of visa is an H1B, and that allows American employers to temporarily bring on resources from other countries for certain classes of work that are considered extremely difficult to find. Think race car mechanics, certain types of models, and generally a lot of IT people. The case that your lawyers will have to make is that there just aren't enough people with your tech skill to come over. This is where it gets really politically sensitive because there are a lot of people in the US who know ServiceNow now. And there's a lot of people specializing in it. And there's a lot of just political friction because I think the prevailing thought in the US is that there probably is enough ServiceNow resources, so why do we need more H1Bs? Now, an H1B needs sponsorship from a company, and this is why you can't just go around asking individuals, hey, do you know of any jobs in the US that will sponsor me for H1B? You have to get the company to sponsor you. It's not something you can do yourself. The other thing is that even after they go through the significant legal cost of filing, there's no guarantee that they're going to get one because there's a fixed number of H1Bs distributed each year. So somebody could be paying 15 to 20% of your first year salary just to roll the dice on whether or not you get an H1B. It's a very high risk maneuver for American companies. So look, it's just truth with love here. If you want to try for any of these visas, you're certainly welcome to. I would say the first step is to be absolutely exceptional at whatever it is you do in the ServiceNow space. This is not an area for beginners and starters and purely average people to start in, because you're either going to have to justify to your current employer why you're going to be better in a higher cost market, or you're going to have to convince an American company that you're worth 15 to 20% and a dice roll to bring over when they can continue searching in their domestic labor market. A couple final things. Once again, just be really careful about who you ask this to and the tone with which you take there, because a lot of people in the US are just really scared that their jobs are going to get outsourced someday. And you could just be asking somebody, how do I replace you? And that could be how they're hearing it. Take very good care of yourself. This is a very profitable game for very big players. There have been a lot of big global companies who have made a ton of money shipping in a large amount of H1B labor, undermining the US market. And they don't necessarily treat the people that they bring over fairly. So beware if you're signing up for a consulting company in the US under H1B with promises of all this lucrative pay. I have seen, and I've spoken to people in the US who come over on tech H1Bs, and they're still driving Uber and Lyft to make ends meet. and they're living in houses with 10 other people because some shady consulting company, not a small one either, is bringing them in and just undermining the US market and paying these people just tiddlywinks. That happens. This has been another QA session with the Duke. I love you all and I want the best for you wherever you work. I hope you found some wisdom in this video, and we'll see you on the next one.